So it's been a while since I made one of these videos, and I wanted to make one. I'm in the mood, and I wanted to talk about work capacity, more specifically, mental work capacity. Anything and everything we do, whether go to work, take care of our children, handle the daily priorities in our life of our job, business, etc. What we do is we end up basically being prepared in some form or manner. A lot of the time, it's really just habit. You go to the bathroom, you go eat your lunch. It's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you're hungry. You don't stress about what you're going to eat about, or what you're going to eat, I should say. It doesn't really matter because it's something that you normally do, or what time you work out, or what you do every single day. Everyone is sort of a little different with how all this works. And what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of this stuff, not only it's not so much that it's the habit. We know that it's a habit, but it's really more about the mental preparation to do whatever it is you're going to do, whether it be become more successful in your day, with your business, with your fitness, with your health, with your life, with your relationships. There's a certain level of mental preparation involved. Some is higher degrees of intensity, some are lower degrees. Some don't even register on the Richter scale for what's important, or I should say, what is even considered stressful in any manner. And I like to use this as a analogy or metaphor for weightlifting, or lifting weights, powerlifting in my case. When you get under the bar, you're going to do a squat, or you're going to pick up the deadlift. You're going to pick up the barbell, heavy ass weight. There's a certain level of mental preparation that's required so that you're able to essentially successfully lift that weight. And a lot of the time, what we run into is that when we're about to do something that's very high stress, or very challenging, or very difficult, we are not as prepared as we could be. And we can always prepare better. I think that's true for a lot of people. But in general, sometimes you're going to go ahead and deadlift 500-600 pounds, or you're going to squat 400 pounds, and you're just not ready. So it's harder than it needs to be. And it's harder because you were not preparing for it. And when I say preparing, it could mean working out, it could mean like warming up, it could mean a lot of things, but more specifically about this video is really more to do with mental preparation. And this kind of reminds me from back in the days, years ago, when I used to run marathons, and I used to do a lot of half marathons, and I did my first only one full marathon. Is that when I was prepared to do my long run for the day, or I should say when I was planning to do my long run for the day, I would have to mentally prepare for it. And how would I do that? I would just simply think about it. I would not just necessarily like motivate myself to do it, but it's also kind of committing to doing the act. And that act is, for example, I had one day where I had to run 10 miles, 12 miles. And I've never ran like 10 or 12 miles on a treadmill. This is what I did for my first kind of long run as leading up to the San Francisco Marathon in 2010. And it took a while. It took a certain amount of effort, and as I trained my clients in the morning before my afternoon run with a client of mine, we did the run, and it was hard. But it was hard, challenging physically, but not mentally, because I was prepared. And then when I ran, I had this other long run scheduled. It was 18 miles that I ran by myself. Now, it was harder mentally because the preparation was kind of a little bit more thought out, because I had to. I was going to do it by myself. And 18-mile run was fucking rough. And, to this day, I don't even know how I could even run 18 miles by myself in a training run. I mean, that just sounds so ridiculous. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 hours of running. I ran it over by Whole Foods in Walnut Creek at the Iron Horse Trail. And it just kept going, and that shit fucking sucked. It was very. I would have to say that when I did that run, I was not really physically prepared as I could have been, but definitely mentally prepared. Because to be totally honest, I don't even know what the fuck happened. Because if you really think about some of the hardest things you've ever done in your entire life, and you think back to like one of the most challenging times where you accomplished something that was so ridiculous, or maybe not ridiculous, but just something that's just so big, it's you can't even. You don't even know how you did it, and you don't even know how you could do it again. It's it's kind of a trip, actually. I don't even know how I fucking ran 26 miles. I mean, that just, God, I have the tag somewhere, but that shit was ridiculous. Never again, at least for now. I don't have any desire to run at all. But you kind of prepare yourself for this stuff. You mentally prepare. When you go in for a test, how do you mentally prepare? And I'm just give you some ideas of kind of how you mentally prepare for a test. If I have on my training schedule, I'm a deadlift heavy. I usually play things by ear, but I know that usually I'm gonna lift near 500 pounds or more if I have a heavy training session for deadlifts. If I'm a deadlift maybe I'm gonna deadlift at least 480 to 500 pounds. But you have to kind of psych yourself up of what you're going to do. You have to like put it in your head, I'm going to fucking do this. I remember when I first deadlifted 500 pounds, it was just really more of a mental block than a physical block, because part of me knew that I could do it, but a part of me was scared. And when I made a commitment, I actually made a video on this committing on YouTube saying I'm going to fucking deadlift 500 pounds because I know I can. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And that's basically what I said in the video. Is I essentially had to prepare for a whole day. 24 hours of essentially thinking about it, saying it out loud, and thinking about it and preparing for it, looking stuff online on how to warm up for a 500-pound deadlift or for a max attempt. In that case, I mentally prepared for the lift, and you know what? That was probably the easiest 500 pounds has ever felt. Surprisingly, I've lifted 500 pounds for triples, for 3 reps. Like if you saw a video a few videos ago, or maybe another video where I lifted 500 pounds, I will tell you that first I want to say it was 505, maybe 515, I don't know. But the first time I lifted 505, that shit was really the easiest. If I can, just thinking about it, I'll link a video in the description. That's the easiest I've ever felt it. And why is that? I mean, there's lots of different reasons. Maybe I was prepared. Maybe that's all I was doing for the day. Who knows? But I do know that a big part of it had to do with the way I mentally prepared for that lift. And for people out there who are, taking maybe a job interview or a test or all these things, you really have to focus on mental preparation, because a lot of what we do in life is just a fucking mind game. I mean, how many times do you practice reading a particular chapter in a book and doing practice tests? There's nothing on the line, but when something's on the line, you get nervous and you fuck up, or you don't perform at your best. Some people perform at their best when there's the most pressure, and a lot of the time you can easily say, like, people like, high-level football players like, Kaepernick and Peyton Manning, all the ones in the playoffs and stuff, they mentally, physically prepare. Not only they physically, they mentally prepare so they're ready for this. And then you got people who fucking choke, right? And my point with saying that is that for people that do the best during high pressure situations, there's definitely some truth that they definitely have a maybe innate ability or a certain talent, but a lot of the time they're really actually mentally prepared for it, and somehow. I should look this stuff up and find out about it, but I do know that there is some sort of like meditative state or some sort of ritual that people go through. Like in golf, when you're about to hit a shot, you're typically going to create you usually will have a pre-shot routine before you hit a golf ball, and the reason why is so that everything stays consistent. That way you keep performing at a high level. And when you weightlift, same thing. There's a certain patterns, and you may not even realize. You might be you may have been training for years, and you're strong. You made a significant amount of progress, and you don't even realize how you set up for things, or maybe you do, who knows. I have a certain way that I set up for a heavy deadlift, but as far as everything else, they're all a little different, but I do know I have some sort of mental preparation for when I'm going to lift heavy, and I do know how everything's supposed to feel when I lift. And when you're going to make progress in any part of your life, you have to have those positive thoughts. A lot of the time, like when I prepare for a heavy lift or anything like that, it's not about I hope I make it. It's really more about how is this going to feel. How does it need to feel? How do I want it to feel? Because it's going to go up no matter fucking what. I mean, that's not even a thought of me failing. Is not even what I do have some pins just in case. I don't think it's going to fail. But, I always have a little bit of a kind of a backup plan in case that I need to freaking drop to the pins because the weight's too heavy. But at the same time, I'm not thinking about I'm going to fail. I'm not thinking about how it's going to feel, because I'm trying to improve my technique. I'm trying to improve my form when I lift. I'm trying to improve the positioning of where the bar sits on my back, or where my grip is, or where my feet are, or how I tighten my core, or how I open up my chest. I mean, lots of little variables that I'm trying to improve in my own personal abilities as a powerlifter, as a strength athlete, that I'm not thinking about failing. I'm thinking about how can I make sure that I get the best out of this lift, because I know I'm going to make the lift. And that's for like sub max. But when I'm near max, almost every single time when I'm nearing something that's kind of nerve wracking, that scares me a little bit, what I actually end up doing is you have to kind of psych yourself out. I fucking use loud music. It helps a lot when I do for a max attempt. But at the end of the day, when you are trying to make the most out of your goals and get better at your lifting or get better at your whatever it is you're doing, you need to figure out a way so that you can get some positive thoughts of a positive outcome of a successful ending. There's no way around that. You gotta find that successful ending, and you gotta think in your mind that it's gonna happen. I know the saying is "fake it till you make it," and I fucking hate that saying, and I say it as a joke. But a lot of the time, what you're doing is you're just trying to figure out, and you're trying to focus in a way where whatever it is that you're gonna do, that you're not gonna fail. There's no question in your mind that you're gonna fail. Nothing in your mind. The only thing that matters is that you are going to make it, and that whatever you do that doesn't come out as perfect as you want it, you're just going to make an adjustment, and then you're going to succeed. And then you're going to figure out another way to either, if you do fail, whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it be a lift or a job or a career path or a business, whatever it may be, you are going to still learn from whatever mistakes you made. Even if it was a successful attempt, you're going to learn from all the mistakes that you made in that lift or in that movement or those decisions you made, and you're going to try to make it better. And that's all you're thinking about. You're thinking about getting better. It's about getting better. Mental preparation is the biggest thing to allow you to be successful. And then everything that matters to you in your life and everything you're doing, whether it be strength training, career, business, whatever, all you want to do is get better. And this is what it's about. It's about getting better. And there's really nothing else to it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like my video. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber.